Hello, good evening. Welcome to Latitude Live Yoga with Jessie. Today we're going to be doing yin to defeat worry and self-doubt. So we're going to do a slow, deep-seated meditative style practice to help benefit the physical body as well as the mental and emotional bodies as well. We will be working a small technique into our practice today called EFT, or emotional freedom tapping. So I'll go ahead and guide us all through that, but make sure you do have your blanket, your props, whatever you want to use today, all set up for yourself. So grab some blankets or blocks. We will be doing some folds that require you to kind of hang out in them for a few minutes. So make sure you have something to support yourself on. All right, so we're going to start in a comfortable seat. You can sit up on a blanket. You can sit on a pillow. You can keep your legs crossed, extended, however you would like. All right, so just get yourself comfortable and sit up nice and tall. Now let's close the eyes if it's comfortable for you. If it's not, for whatever reason, allow yourself just to focus the gaze down at the floor in front of you, non-moving object, and try to soften the eyes around it. And give yourself a moment just to settle here and stop and relax. All right, so we've made it to our mat tonight. You may not be in a process of feeling an intense negative emotion. You might know one that's been plaguing you lately. Maybe you've had more anxiety or self-doubt. Maybe you've been battling some depression or some trauma. If you could just imagine any one of these things that maybe you're experiencing. It could even just be stress from meeting a deadline or the stress of working from home. So allow yourself to recall one item of a strong emotion or feeling that you've been having lately. And then rate the level of distress you feel caused by this emotion or this situation on a level of 0 being no distress at all to 10 being like the most distress you have ever felt in your life. Some days you might just be at a 2 or a 3. Sometimes it might be higher, like a 6 or an 8. And no judgment here. Just allow yourself to be present to what it is and accept it. We're going to create or formulate a statement regarding this emotion or this feeling, this situation that we're experiencing. So an example is, even though I am, whatever your situation is, so even though I am feeling anxiety, I deeply and completely accept myself. All right, so this is going to help us move through the hindrance of letting it flow through you, of holding on to it and not accepting it for what it is. Okay, so we're going to accept it exactly as it is. So even though I feel depressed, I deeply and completely accept myself. You can change the words around a little. Maybe you love yourself unconditionally, anything of that nature, a positive thing, accepting where you are and accepting what you're feeling. All right, we're going to go through several different points. There are 9 different tapping points. So if you would like to blink your eyes gently open, I'll go through and show them to you briefly, and then I'll guide us through the practice. So our first point is called the karate point. It doesn't matter which hand you use, which side of the body you do it on. It's interchangeable. You're going to take 4 fingers and tap on that fleshy part of the side of your hand. And we'll tap each point between 5 and 7 times. That's point 1. It's called the karate chop. Point 2 is your eyebrow point. So now we're going to move to 2 fingers and just tap right on the inside of the eyebrow. Again, doesn't matter which side it is. And we're going to continue to repeat this phrase over while we do it. Okay, the next is going to be the side of the eye. You can feel the orbital bone that surrounds the eye socket, and you're going to remain on that bone for all 3 of the points: the eyebrow, the outside of the eye, and then underneath the eye. We're going to go from there to underneath the nose, so right on above the top lip. From there, we're going to go to the chin point. That's going to be not the tip of the chin, but that little divot in between the bottom lip and the chin. From the chin point, we'll move down to the collarbone. So you can pick one and just tap underneath it with 2 fingers. I like to use my whole palm and tap right in the center where like a man's bow tie would be, which would be able to activate both sides. From there, we're going to go to the underarm. So about a hand width down from the armpit, you're going to go right below the arm and tap the side of the body. So this is kind of like where a bra strap usually falls. Okay, from there, you're going to go to the top of your head. Take 4 fingers again, tap right on the top of your head. All right, great. So now you know the points. So we will start. You can do this with your eyes closed now that you already know. So bring awareness to your statement. Okay, so even though I am experiencing self-doubt, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, grab your karate chop. Grab your 4 fingers. We're going to repeat it 3 times. Even though I feel this way, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I feel this way, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I feel this way, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, move to the eyebrow point, 2 fingers. Now you can just keep repeating a portion of it. You can even vent to yourself. This self-doubt is driving me crazy. It's too much. I can't handle it. Outside of the eye. Whatever you're feeling, this anxiety has grown to be too much. Bottom of the eye. I'm very overwhelmed by this anxiety. Underneath the nose. Some days it's too much to handle and I can't handle it at all. Chin. I'm experiencing a lot of self-doubt. Okay? Collarbones. This anxiety, man, it's intense. Underarm. Some days this anxiety gets the best of me. Okay, top of head. All 4 fingers. This anxiety is overwhelming. All right, we're going to go back, start again with the karate chop. You can switch sides if you prefer. Say the whole sentence 3 times. Even though I feel anxious, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I'm anxious, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I get this headache, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay? Eyebrow point. This headache is getting the best of me. Outside of eye. This feeling is too much. I don't like bottom of eye. I don't like this deadline. There's too much to handle. Under the nose. I feel like I can't get all my work done in a timely manner. The chin. This job stresses me out. Whatever it is, just keep saying your statement over and over again. Collarbones. Tap it out. Feel it. Under the arm. Top of head. All right, let it go. Bring it down. Bring a hand back down. Close the eyes if you haven't already. Take a deep breath. Say your statement again. Now think of one positive thing that you might feel now. So even take another rating. Where are you at on that 0 to 10? Maybe you feel just a little bit better. All right, now we're going to formulate our positive statement. This positive statement can be, I love myself unconditionally. It can be, I feel awesome. So let's go with that. Take your hand, 4 fingers on your karate chop. I feel awesome, no matter what. I feel awesome, no matter what. I feel awesome, no matter what. Okay? Brow point. I feel awesome. I feel awesome. Outside of the eye. I feel awesome. I feel awesome. Underneath the eye. I feel so awesome. Underneath the nose. I feel awesome. I feel awesome. Chin. I feel awesome. Awesome is me. Go your collarbones. I feel awesome. Okay, underarm. I feel awesome no matter what. 4 fingers to the top of your head. I feel so incredibly awesome. Hand back down. Take a deep breath. Side out. Feel the physical sensations arising in the body as we tapped on these 9 different acupressure points to help stimulate the flow of qi. We begin to stimulate the flow of the energy through our body in order to promote well-being emotionally, mentally, which leads to physically. Maybe you'd like to use this positive affirmation as a statement or an intention for the remaining of your practice. If so, feel free to do so. We're going to move now to on our backs. So allow yourself to go ahead and lay down. Take your time. Move slowly, move mindfully. Lay all the way down onto your back. Let the knees be bent. Feet on the floor. Tuck the shoulder blades underneath you. We're going to go into our saddle pose or happy baby. So you're going to reach the feet up towards the ceiling. Knees are bent. Imagine bringing the knees back down towards the armpits. Now, we're working with the spleen meridian today. So in order to do so, we're going to use our hands and press on the very tip of the big toe. So just put some pressure right on the top of the big toe. Don't hurt yourself, not much. Just allow the legs to be easy. Allow your head, neck, and shoulders to relax down. And for the next few moments, you're going to put pressure on the top of the big toe. As we settle in here, let's remind ourselves of the 3 yin principles or tattvas of the practice. So first we're going to listen to our bodies and move only to the first edge of sensation. So even though we might be super flexible, or you might know you can touch your toes every day on a regular basis, you want to let all of that idea of what it means to be flexible and let it go. We want to be absolutely engaged in the current moment and stop when you begin to feel sensation. We hold each pose for anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes tonight. So as we hold a pose, the sensation often increases. So we want to start at a low state in order to allow ourselves to rest in a place comfortable enough to breathe easy. Your yin practice should never cause you any pain. However, some discomfort may arise. Intensity may arise. You may feel like you want to escape from a pose, but I urge you to stay present, stay with it, and stay active. Let the breath be smooth and easy. Now, if the breath becomes choppy, if it becomes hard to breathe, that's a surefire sign to back out of the pose. If you feel any shooting pains, that's also a good notice to back out of your pose. And then the third is going to be to relax the body and remain as still as possible. So really invite this ability or this sense of stillness into your practice tonight. Try to refrain from fidgeting and wiggling, adjusting the clothes and hair, as it's all just our body's way of distracting the mind. We're going to stay present, connected with the sensation we feel. We're going to stay present and connected to our intention or our affirmation. And we're going to stay present to our breath, noticing and observing it, allowing the breath to guide us. We'll be here for just a few more moments. So the spleen meridian is known, when it's unbalanced, to harbor sensations or feelings of self-doubt and worry. So we're going to work with that in order to defeat that sense, to really increase a overall well-being, a sense of wellness and peace. Letting go of any stress that's arising in the moment, any stress that has come onto the mat with us. Sometimes I like to imagine the body as a river. All these different meridian lines are like a river, and we can experience sometimes choppy waters, or maybe there is a dam of sort that's blocking the flow of the water. And tonight we're going to work on playing with the river, adjusting the river, if you will, in order to promote a flowing river that's peaceful and calm. Take one more breath here. And exhale, just bring the knees into your chest. Rock a little side to side. Give yourself a moment to just observe the way you feel. Slide your hands to behind the thighs. Lift the feet up towards the sky, and that'll rock a little front to back. From here, allow yourself to rock all the way to a seat, or you can press yourself up to roll to one side and press yourself up to a seat. We're going to go into our dragonfly pose. So if you have blocks or pillows, go ahead and bring them in between the legs. You're going to take the legs out really nice and wide as you can to your first edge. Okay, so sit up on a blanket if you have one. Allow your spine to be nice and tall. Now let your feet relax completely. It doesn't matter if they sway in, if they fall out. Let the calves relax, the knees, the thighs, the hips feel heavy. And as you sit up nice and tall, take a deep breath in, lift the heart. And then exhale, allow yourself just to lean forward a little. Maybe you come down to your forearms. Maybe you come down to your belly, wherever your first edge is. Maybe even just stay with your hands on the mat and stay upright. Absolutely perfect, no matter where you are. From here, allow yourself to begin to soften the body and relax, noticing your first edge. And remember that if your body asks you to deepen it as we hold, feel free to do so. If it asks you to back out, feel free to do so. Otherwise, truly try to find stillness. You feel the feet completely relax, the legs completely let go. The belly and the back are soft, shoulders relax, and the tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. The spleen meridian can become obstructed due to overthinking or chronic worry. Traditional Chinese medicine believes that there are different meridian lines connected with different organs, and disharmony in any of the flow of energy can impact our health physically and mentally and emotionally. The spleen meridian can also become unbalanced due to what they call dampness. Too much water in an organ that is governed by the element of earth. So rainy seasons can often cause the spleen to become unbalanced, living in areas of high humidity. Allow yourself to continue to soften here, relaxing the way the body is positioned. Like I said, if you would like to deepen it, maybe lowering your pillow or coming down to the forearms, coming down to the belly. feel free to do so. But try to close the eyes or soften the gaze and allow yourself just to find some ease here. Come back to your positive affirmation. I feel so incredibly awesome. You're letting any negative energy leave the body. You're clearing space as we put different levels of compression and elongation on the energy channels in the body. We're using physical position to do a manual acupressure to the body. The spleen is known to house the body's thoughts and intentions. Just a few more breaths here. Enjoy a little bit of quiet, that stillness, that peace. Nice and slowly, on an inhale, begin to lift the torso upright. If you have props that you're using, move them out of the way. Use your hands, scoop the legs up in front of you with your knees bent. Bring your hands back behind you and allow yourself just to sway the legs a little side to side. All right, now extend the right leg all the way out in front of you. Okay, this is your first option. You know I always love to give lots of options. So this is your first option. You could even just take the left foot, step it as close to you, and hold on to the shin with your right hand behind the right hip. Second option is to be taking the left foot back by the left hip. Okay, so you want to make sure the top of the foot is onto the floor behind you so that the knee is completely bent. You can bring it really close to you if you'd like. So that's going to be your second option, with both hands just leaned back behind you. Third option is to come down to your forearms. Fourth option is to lay back on a prop or onto the floor based on your first edge. So really listen to your body. I already feel like that coming down to the forearms is too much, so I'm going to sit upright with my arms. You want to be able to breathe. You want to be able to hold this pose for several minutes. So allow yourself to come into whichever edge is yours. And then begin to find some softness, some stillness, some ease. As we rest here, we begin to open up the meridian line. So the spleen meridian line actually starts in the very tip of the big toe. It moves up the inner arch of the foot, through the inner sides of the leg, across the groin, through the stomach, up into the diaphragm, connects towards the top portion of the lung, moves through the throat, and ends directly underneath the tongue. It's connected to the earth element. The earth is known to be grounding and nurturing. So when we find balance here, we can find that sense of stability. Notice what you're feeling, what sensations might be arising. You allow the body to soften around it. Embrace it for all that it is. Stay present to it. Close the eyes if it's comfortable. And if your arms are straight behind you, if it's okay on your shoulders, allow yourself to completely hang into them. If not, just put a gentle press into the floor to lift up out of the shoulders. But try to use as little muscular effort to hold yourself here. Yin practice can increase range of motion in the joints. It can stimulate different growth of cells in the body or stimulate different action of cells in the body. Ones that promote hydration, that promote cell growth, so deep tissue growth of the tendons, cartilage, bone. It can benefit and even prevent osteopenia and osteoporosis. All right, take another full breath here. I am so totally awesome. All right, nice and slowly inhale, lift back up, right? You're gonna nice and slowly come out of this pose. So I highly recommend using your hand to help scoop the shin upright so you keep the knee bent, and then flex the foot as you bring the knee back around. Place the foot back on the ground, bend the right knee with your hands behind you. Maybe you want to sway a little side to side or move the legs a little in and out. And from there, go ahead and extend the left leg. You're going to slowly go in your stages. So you might know you want to stay with the heel towards the groin here and just keep that knee upright. That's perfect. You can bring the heel back alongside of you, but then tuck the top of the foot underneath you. And you want to bring the heel close to your seat, and you want to make sure your knee is going out in front of you. You might want to stay here upright. You might want to come down to your forearms, go down to your back, to a prop, whatever you might have. And once you find your space, your first edge, begin to soften, begin to let go, appreciate what is, and just feel all that is happening in the body. Taking nice, smooth breaths, surrendering to all that is in this moment. You're allowing yourself to keep the muscles very quiet, very still, to really allow the effect of this pose to sink into the deeper joints, the deeper connective tissues. Not only are we working with different energy movement of the body, but we're also allowing ourselves to nurture our nervous system. Even as the pose gets intense and maybe your heart rate feels like it flutters a little, we allow ourselves to stay present and to connect with our breath and remain soft and at ease. We allow ourselves to be present and remember that this too will pass. All events in our life are really fleeting. All moments change. So allow yourself to be present with this moment, but also allow yourself to be the observer of the moment without getting too attached. You allow the sensation, the feelings just to come and to go. Just as you become an observer of your thoughts, of your anxiety, of your depression, of your headaches, you're just the observer of whatever is occurring in your life. And whatever thoughts you have about them, you are not attached. This mindset allows you to feel what arises and allows you to disconnect from it, allows you to know that you are still you without them. Take one more breath here. And then nice and slowly lift back up. All right, so we're going to move the leg again. So remember, do this mindfully. Use your hand. Grab onto the shin so you can lift the foot up off the mat. Once it's up, flex the foot, bringing the toes back to the shin as you bring the foot back around. Nice job. Extend both legs out this time and allow your hands to rest behind you as you just swiggle the feet side to side nice and quick. It's like you have no control over the feet. Just wiggle, 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 wiggle. All right, now scoop the knees, scoop underneath the knees. You're going to drag the heels back to you. Bring the soles of the feet together, open out for butterfly or little Baddha Konasana here. But as opposed to when we practice in our yang class, you're going to take the feet far away from you, creating this diamond-like shape here in the legs. Still sit up nice and tall and hold on to the shins if you need that extra support, but let the shoulders relax down the back. If you have any props that you want to use underneath the knees here to really allow your body to relax into this pose, I highly recommend it. I've been working with hip openers a lot lately, and having that support can be very beneficial. All right, so take a moment here, begin to soften, staying upright, so you have the ability to really observe what's happening in the body. Close the eyes or soften the gaze. Try to let any tension release from the inner groin or the inner hips. Feel the breath. Now, nice. Take a nice big inhale. And on your exhale, if you'd like to fold over the legs, you can do so as little or as much as you'd like. Lead with the heart. So imagine that you're still nice and long here, folding in half. You can let your forearms come down. Maybe your whole belly comes down. Maybe you slide a pillow underneath the chest to support you. Any way to make this pose a little more easeful as you continue to release any tension in the feet, the hips, the thighs. Even try to soften the muscles of the pelvic floor and of the low belly. If we can really truly find a little relaxation there, you even get into the psoas. When the spleen meridian line is in disharmony, it has both physical and emotional symptoms. Physically, it might arise as digestive problems or stomach upset. You might experience indigestion or IBS. It can be minor symptoms to serious symptoms, depending on how long the disharmony has gone on for. Emotionally, it may show up as worry, poor concentration, forgetfulness, cloudy thoughts, addiction, attachment, obsession or obsessive thoughts, jealousy, and low self-esteem. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then inhale, begin to lift the torso upright. We're going to nice and slowly bring the hands underneath the knees to scoop the knees back together. And we're going to tuck the legs underneath us and come into hands and knees or all fours. From all fours, we're going to take 3 rounds of cat and cow just to open up some of the energy. So lift the chest and the tailbone, and then round the spine, pressing the shoulders up towards the ceiling. Inhale, the belly softens, the chest lifts. Exhale, the back rounds as you let the head and the tail descend. One more time, inhale and exhale. From here, take the knees as wide as you can comfortably to your first edge. Bring the big toes together, sit back and down for child's pose. Maybe you rest the head on the mat. Now, allow this pose to be completely soft and passive, so you're letting go of any tension. Try not to hold yourself tight. So if you are feeling that this is difficult for the knees or the hips, feel free to prop up the seat or the head. So sometimes even lifting the head up will find some more ease in the hips. If this is too much for the knees, go ahead and slide a block or a blanket underneath the seat, or a blanket all the way right behind the knees in order just to prevent them from bending quite as much. When we are in a state of harmony with the spleen meridian, we begin to feel trust and honesty. We have a sense of openness and acceptance. We feel balance and equanimity, impartiality, and we have an established self-esteem. Allow the body to soften here. Notice where you're feeling sensation and see if you can let it soften a little bit more with each breath. You feel into the muscles of the hips or the legs. Or maybe in this pose, you feel it in the shoulders. We're going to take this into a twisted child's pose. So we're going to still keep this flexion of the knees and the hips if you can handle it. If you need to come up onto the knees like a half tabletop position, feel free to do so. We're going to start with the right arm. So with your arms extended outright, press into the floor to lift the chest upright. You're going to take the right hand, slide it underneath the left armpit, and bring the arm as close to the knees as possible. So you're going to create more space here for the neck and the shoulder. Now allow the shoulder to come down to the mat. Allow the right side of the face to come down. And just let the left arm, right arm relax. If you begin to feel like a loss of sensation in the right fingertips, try to bring it down a little closer, because what's happening is you want to create space here around the shoulder. We have some nerves and some vital blood flow there, so try to create space. But we do want to put some pressure on the arms around the top of the lungs and the rib cage. So allow yourself to try to soften here. So the spleen has to do with both digestion as well as our immune response. The Ohio State University did a study showing that chronic psychological stress can actually impact the body's immune response in a way that you're actually creating white blood cells, right? So those cells that are going to attack foreign objects, or the bad cells, the bad viruses. We actually create an immune response against our stress, essentially, which then forces the spleen to become this reservoir of inflammatory cells. So allowing us here to open up and try to release this tension in the spleen, release this sensation of holding on to this chronic stress, will help relieve this fatigue in the body, will allow us to function more cleanly and more appropriately. We release cortisol, allowing ourselves to, again, nurture the nervous system, bringing us back into a state of ease, of rest, one in which the mind feels that we're safe. We can let go of dis-ease and distress and allow ourselves to be comfortable in the present moment, developing skills or owning our skills to be able to face whatever arises, whatever stress, whatever the impact is. We allow ourselves to soften into this, embracing the present moment, and just allowing the breath to move through us. Take another breath here. And then nice and slowly, you're going to press into the left hand to lift the torso upright, free the right arm. You might just want to stretch it out for a moment as long as you can. And then bring the torso back upright, and we'll go ahead and thread the left arm through. Remember, you're going to try to come down to the shoulder, so thread that left hand as far over to the right as you can. And allow that arm to come as close to the knees as you can, creating space for the shoulder in that. Let the left side of the face come down, and just give yourself a moment here to let go of any muscular tension. The right arm can relax. The hips and the legs can relax. And begin to find a sense of stillness. Because we're working with the spleen meridian, so we're trying to let go of excess worry and self-doubt. We're trying to create a sense of balance and equanimity in the body, finding harmony in the meridian lines. I decided to incorporate the emotional freedom tapping as it's a technique that is more easily accessible anytime you need it. We specifically tapped on 9 pressure points of the body that are considered energy hotspots of specific meridian lines. So allowing yourself to create a tactile sensation while also thinking of a specific situation, we allow the idea or the emotion that we're having to move through the body physically, allowing us to balance the energy and decrease the stress that's caused by this negative emotion, which then begins to improve our emotional health, leading to increased physical health. We have tools at our fingertips to help us rebalance our body's energy, breaking up the negative feedback loop that is happening during this stressful event or these stressful thoughts that we get stuck in. So we find an effective way to vent it all out and decrease our distress. Maybe once again, come back to the affirmative statement, the one that begins a formation of this positive thought, this positive feeling within you. I feel awesome. I feel joy. I feel at ease and at peace. I'll just be here for a few more moments, Continue to soften, checking in with the body, observing the breath. Allow yourself just to take one more breath here. And then nice and slowly use the right hand to lift the torso, release the left hand. Pressing down into all four corners of the hand, each fingertip, you're going to come up to your tabletop pose. Organize the legs underneath you, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog, just to open up the back line of the legs as we've had them compressed for a moment now. For some reason you're not feeling down dog today, you can continue to stay on the knees and just extend one leg back at a time, or maybe even take a plank if you're feeling that. So allow yourself just to feel this extension, opening up the back line of the leg. Do whatever feels good to you. Pedal the feet, etc. And then come back down into tabletop, and then come all the way down to the belly. Stack your torso upright on your forearms, so the elbows are underneath the shoulders. Relax the feet, the hips, the legs, the belly. Even relax the chest into the shoulders. And just give yourself a moment here just to extend through the spine for a moment. So close the eyes, soften the gaze, maybe even relax the head, neck, and shoulders. This is just a little transitional pose for us. Take a few deep breaths into the belly, releasing the low back. Most negative emotions that we encounter have a way of creating this mind-body feedback loop. It's kind of how when you get really anxious about something, or let's say you have to give a speech and you don't like to talk in front of people, and we start to create this story of how we don't enjoy this. And you get latched onto the idea of how we don't want to do this. And then it becomes a physical emotion in the pit of your belly where you begin to feel how badly you don't want to do this. Through working with the spleen meridian, we begin to break that loop. We begin to find freedom from that loop that we get stuck in. We find freedom from the negative emotions tied with the idea of an event. We begin to feel secure, and we begin to feel a sense of confidence that allows us to face this event with our head held high, with ease and with confidence. Take another breath here. And then nice and slowly, you're just going to lay all the way down, but you're going to come all the way onto your side. But make sure so let's come onto your right side. And make sure you really tuck that right shoulder underneath you so it's more in front of the body. You don't be completely stacked on it, but bring the shoulder out in front of you a little bit so the arm can come out in front of you. Okay, let the head relax down. If you want to for a minute, you can let the head relax on your right arm. All right, now try to make sure your hips and your shoulders are in a line. And then your right knee, make sure it's directly in a line with your hips. So essentially from your head to your right knee, you're in one line. Bring your left knee out in front of you. Bend the knee so you have a 90-degree angle between the shin and the leg. If you have a blanket or a prop that you want to go ahead and slide under that knee, feel free to do so. It's usually a great feeling. Now you're going to bend the right knee so the foot goes directly behind you. So there's another 90-degree angle there. This pose is called cat pulling its tail. Now you're going to begin to open the chest up towards the ceiling. So you're going to take a spinal twist. So if you need to use your left hand first to press into the ground to really slide that right shoulder out now, please feel free to do so. You can extend your right arm all the way out. Let the head relax down and let that left arm open out wide. If you need to put another blanket or anything underneath the shoulder, feel free to do so. Now you can use your right hand here to rest on top of the the left knee, or you can let it rest out. You can even use your left hand, if it's accessible to you, and reach down for the right foot, the one that's bent behind you. So it's like you're a cat pulling your tail. I feel like dogs are the ones who pull their tails, but, it's okay. So allow yourself just to relax here. You can take your gaze in either direction to open up the line of the neck, depending what feels good to your body. Either way will be beneficial, so feel free to do that. And allow yourself to completely soften here. So coming into your positive affirmation, as you settle the body, you feel the body relax. Even in a tangled up, compressed pose, can you find some freedom and some space here? Can you find a way to relax, to ease the breath? Nurture the mind and stay positive. Stay present to the sensation within as we stimulate the chi through the meridian line. They say the spleen meridian line is connected between both the kidney and the heart. The kidney is known to store our vital chi. And the heart is known to express and receive gratitude and freedom. There's an emotion attached to each organ. The kidney is attached to the feeling of fear, which also can cause sensations of anxiety or panic. And as we clear out this meridian line of the gallbladder, we begin to find some freedom from that. The heart is represented by joy. So we begin to clear out our worry, clear out our fear, and allow ourselves space for complete joy and peace. So allow yourself just to bask in the sensation of joy and warmth spreading through the body. With each inhale, you fill up with the joy, and each exhale, you dispel any fear or worry. Nice and slowly, we're going to completely unwind from this pose. So the easiest way for me is just to release the right leg, so you unbend it, and then come onto your back. And then you're going to move all the way to your left side, and we're going to start again. So move any props if you need it. Rest on your left arm, but really get that shoulder underneath you. Bring the left knee in line with the left hip and shoulder. Take the right knee out in front of you, bend it so it's at a 90-degree angle. Bend the left knee so the foot goes behind you, so that knee's also at a 90-degree angle. Really tuck that right shoulder underneath you, or the left shoulder underneath you. Allow your back to come down and open the right shoulder up towards the floor. And maybe you even reach down for the back foot, the left foot. And maybe you let the left hand rest on the right thigh. Wow, you're like a pretzel. Allow yourself to lay here for a moment. So unwind, notice what you feel. Remember to only go to your first edge, first sensation, so you don't have to hold on to anything. You can allow your hands just to relax out beside you. Allow the gaze to go into whichever direction feels best for your neck. Maybe you close the eyes. Maybe you feel back into the rhythm of your breath, spreading that joy through the body. Maybe even use it back to your statement earlier. Let go of whatever negative emotion that you are feeling with each exhale. And feel the affirmative statement spread through you with like warmth with each inhale. Maybe you envision the body and back like the river, noticing how the water moves through the river differently. Maybe it's more calm and smooth. Obstructions have moved, clearing space and making room for all that life has to offer. You can just rest in the peace of knowing that you are perfect exactly as you are, exactly as you arrived on the mat today, and exactly as you will be leaving it. The seasons, they come and they go. Feelings, emotions arise and leave. And we are not attached to any of those thoughts, anything else than besides that deep, truly connected self that we are. Allow yourself to rest, knowing the fact that there is an unchanging, unwavering love and joy inside of you. Just a few more breaths here. Relaxing into the connection of the ground beneath you. Finding that sense of groundedness and stability. The strength that the ground, the earth, our Mother Earth can bring you. That nurture of all the kindness, all the support. Take another breath here. Then go ahead and straighten the left knee and allow yourself to roll all the way onto your back. You might want to bend the knees, place the feet on the mat to organize the spine underneath you. And then allow yourself to assume your final resting pose. So in yin, we call it starfish. You extend the feet out as wide as possible, the arms out nice and wide, like you're a beautiful little starfish spread wide in the sand. Allow the body just to completely soften and relax here, allowing every single meridian line of the body to be open and free, allowing the energy to move through the body freely. As you rest here in that support of the earth, I'm reminded of my tree, the loving kindness, the ability to love everyone as if they're your child. I like to think of that when it comes to myself as well. Can you extend to yourself the love that your mother extends to you? May you take this love, this peace, this freedom with you to the remainder of the week and the month. I hope you find peace and ease. Come out of your Shavasana whenever you're ready, slowly and mindfully. The light in me loves and sees the light in each of you. Namaste.